Morning and welcome back. Last lecture we finished with business trust. Business trust was chapter 12 FA. Now starting with a new chapter, investment fund, chapter 12 FB, introduced by Modi government with effect from AY 1617. Investment fund, chapter 12 FB, investment fund, section 115 UB. Business trust was section 115 UA. This is UB plus some exemption sections from section 10. Some of the clauses of section 10. Which clauses? Govind? Lecture is started. Section 1023 FC, subclause A, subclause B, and 1023 FCA. And in the hands of investor, unit holder, 1023 FD, fixed deposit. Now, this chapter here, there are two clauses of exemption. Very simple chapter, very easy. 1023 FBA, 1023 FBB. Facebook A, Facebook B. Facebook A, Facebook B. Business trust के लिए 1023 FD, that is fixed deposit. Here Facebook A, Facebook B, easy to remember. I'm sure you people are used to learning this way, right? Facebook A, Facebook B. Okay. Now, this was introduced. Acha, idhar aake. With effect from AY 1617. Now let us understand first. This was introduced by Modi government. What exactly is investment fund? Shh, please, humble request. I'm briefly explaining it to you. Please refer to bscindia.in BSC website for further details, or you can Google it out. What is investment fund? Again on the same line, investment fund is collective investment scheme. Investment fund. This can be set up by registration will be with SEBI. SEBI will be the controlling or regulatory authority. Investment funds are exactly on the same lines just like mutual funds. Investment fund can be set up by a company, can be set up by a trust, can be set up by partnership firm, can be set up by LLP or any other body corporate. Individuals cannot form this body corporate. It is like what, somebody will set up a company, will collect funds from small people like you and me. This is like mutual fund, but there are some minimum, some rules, regulations different. The minimum collection should be 20 crore or more than 20 crore. Each investor has to contribute 1 crore or more than 1 crore. Minimum investment should be 1 crore. Meaning that if a person like you and me cannot invest, I cannot invest, I don't know. Okay, so minimum investment per person is 1 crore rupees. Okay, the maximum number of participants can be 1,000. Maximum 1,000 people can participate. There are some rules regulation. These are the rules of SEBI. This works on the exactly same lines as in case of mutual fund, but this can be understood as a private equity fund. Private equity fund means outsiders cannot invest. Only those people can invest in investment fund. Only those people can become unit holder who are being invited. It's like private company. The difference between public company, private company, same is a kind of difference between mutual fund and investment fund. Investment fund can be of three categories. They can be of maximum 1,000 unit holders. And then the person who is the promoter, his holding should be minimum 2.5% of the total fund, minimum 5 crore, whichever is lower. So if I set up the investment fund, my investment as a promoter, my investment should be minimum 2.5% of the total fund value, or 5 crore rupees, whichever is lower, that much I need to have. All these things you will get to study under SEBI in your first group subject law. This is not my responsibility to teach you, but I am explaining it to you briefly so that you have a better understanding of this provision. My responsibility is to teach you only the tax treatment of the income. There are two people, investment fund and unit holder. Dono ke haath mein kya hoga, that we are going to discuss. There are three categories of investment funds. Three categories as per SEBI. Category 1, 2 and 3. Category 1 people invest. Category 1 investment fund, they will invest in startups, startup company, startups, small medium enterprises, SMEs. Category 2 mein they will invest in debt market, equity market, etc. Okay, this includes, there are number of different types of investment funds. Investment fund can be private, can be called as private equity fund, collective investment fund, can be called as hedge fund also. However, generally, Category 3 is a hedge fund. Category 3 is risky investments, where they invest in risky investments. Where is this given? This is given in SEBI, not under income tax act. SEBI, Stock Exchange Board of India, Securities and Exchange Board of India, alternative investment fund. Now, income tax act calls it as investment fund. SEBI people call it as alternative investment fund. They call it as AIF. alternative investment fund, 3 categories as per SEBI rules. Third category, people invest in risky investments and risky plus short-term investments, short-term. So generally hedge fund. Now mutual funds are not allowed to do hedging. What is hedging? Mutual funds can invest for long term. Mutual funds buying shares of Reliance Industry, so they have to buy it generally for a long term intention, with an intention to hold it for a longer period. Now intraday trading, derivatives, futures and option, mutual funds not allowed to invest in such risky investments, but category 3 alternative investment fund, hedge fund, they can do all these things. They are allowed to do. India mein category 3 is not very popular. Under Income Tax Act we call it as investment fund, and under Income Tax Act only category 1 and 2 alternative investment fund, only first 2 categories are to be called as investment fund. Category 3 is not covered by Income Tax Act at all. Uska tax treatment kya hoga, that is not clarified. The treatment of category 3 alternative investment fund will be in the form in which they are set up. So supposingly category 3 wala alternative investment fund is set up by company, then whatever is the rate of tax applicable to company, that rate will apply. Income Tax Act has no special provision for category 3. Income Tax Act has special provisions only for category 1 and 2 wala alternative investment fund, which are to be called as investment fund only. Tax treatment in the hands of investment fund and tax treatment in the hands of unit holder. Investment funds will be mainly be having investment income. They will be earning investment income by investing in startups. Suppose any Paytm is a startup. Paytm is a startup company, hypothetically, or we have 26 mobile wallet. MobiKwik, Oxygen, Paytm, PhonePe, mobile se, phone se, Meri Jeb se, etc. We have many e-wallets, mobile wallet. So these are all startups. So the way Warren Buffett invested 2,500 crore in Paytm, that way you can also invest such startups. Now Paytm is no more a startup, or if it is a small or medium enterprise, then either you can invest directly, but that is not possible. So difficult to find out. Like the way Warren Buffett invested, you can also invest in SMEs, but rather people like you and me come together under one brand. Now you are a layman. You don't know where to invest. You want to invest in startups and SMEs, but you don't have knowledge. You know the way mutual funds function. You can invest in stock market directly also, but if you don't have knowledge of stock market, or you cannot afford to appoint a full-time professional person to provide you services, therefore you would want to invest in mutual fund. So rather than you investing in stock market directly, you may invest through mutual fund. Same way, rather than you investing in startup company directly, you can invest in investment fund. So I created investment fund. I am the promoter. The total investment should be of minimum 20 crore and above. You people can participate, each of you, but you can participate with me only. But first I will have to float a company or partnership form or LLP, and then that company I will register with SEBI as alternative investment fund. Then I will be called. So I don't need to have two entities. The way for business trust we had 2 entities. For securitization trust we had 2 entities. Other entity was called as SPV. That way special purpose vehicle. Here no two entities. One entity I will set up company. Company only will be registered with SEBI as alternate investment fund. Yahan tak clear? Okay. I need to have investment of minimum 20 crore. You people can participate. You people will be called as unit holder and not my shareholder. Shares are lying with me. Shares of the company are lying with me. Shareholders will be different. You people are unit holder. I am collecting money from you. Are you understanding? Okay. Then maximum 1,000 people can participate. Each of them have to contribute minimum 1 crore. Now category 3 can be open-ended or close-ended. Open-ended, close-ended. Open-ended, close-ended means what? What do you mean by open-ended? Open-ended means you can invest anytime. I started investment fund 3 years back. You can invest today also. You can invest anytime, you can quit anytime, you can reinvest anytime. Anybody can join hands. But category 1 and 2, which we are going to discuss under this chapter, they are always close-ended. Close-ended means once I invite you people, kisko invest karna, आओ. Once you people invest, I will fix up a date. 31st January 2019, scheme will be closed. Thereafter, nobody else can join. After 31st January 19, nobody can join if I announce the date. If it is open-ended, you can sell. Unit holders can sell. In close-ended, you cannot join me, but you can sell your units to other people. But the minimum lot shall be of 1 crore rupees as per SEBI guidelines. So you became the unit holder. You can sell it to some other person, but I will not offer you further investment. You cannot invest in me further. That is close-ended. But you can sell it. They will be listed. They may be listed or may not be listed. And for third category, alternate investment fund, it could be open-ended or close-ended, completely at their option. Acha, here there's a rule that close-ended means यहाँ पे अच्छा, there will be fixed tenure of the alternate investment fund. Alternative investment fund category 1 and 2 will have to be closed down, will have to be liquidated, will have to be shut down after expiry of the tenure period. The tenure has to be minimum 1 year, maximum 3 years. Minimum 1 year, maximum 3 years. Upon expiry of 3 years, it can once again be renewed for further period, subject to voting of the majority of unit holder. If at least 75% unit holders agree to continue, then I can extend the period by informing SEBI and re-registering or by paying some further fees. Close-ended, once I open the scheme, I will close on 31st January 2019. From 31st January 2019, it has to continue for minimum 1 year, maximum 3 years. And upon expiry of the period specified, if all of you agree, I mean 75% of you agree, then we can continue further for 3 more years. Otherwise, fund will have to be liquidated. I will have to sell off all the assets. Come what may be, profit to profit, loss to loss, pack up karna padega. Are you clear? So it is for a temporary period. Unlike mutual fund, which continues for lifetime, this is private equity fund. But इसमें hedge fund नहीं आएगा. Hedge fund will fall under category 3. For category 3, we have no specific provision. Well, these are all SEBI rules regulation. Don't ask me any further query. I won't be able to answer any of the further queries. Whatever knowledge I have, I shared with you. I have limited knowledge about SEBI provisions. Okay, now coming to income tax. What kind of income investment fund will be having? Investment fund will be having investment income, that is capital gains. They will mainly be having capital gains. They will not be having PGBP or house property, etc. They will be mainly having capital gain. The capital gain income, mutual investment fund का खुद का income other than PGBP, their income will be exempt under 1023 FBA, Facebook A, and when they pass on the income to unit holder के हाथ में income will be taxable. Under pass-through status. Pass-through status means whatever is the nature of income in the hands of investment fund, same will be the nature of income and the proportion in the hands of unit holder. If investment fund के लिए if it is PGBP income, unit holder के लिए भी PGBP, investment fund के लिए mainly will be capital gain, short term या long term, तो इनके लिए भी capital gain. Certain incomes are exempt, certain incomes are taxable. Whatever income is taxable in the hands of investment fund, that will be exempt in the hands of unit holder. Unit holder के हाथ में that income will be exempt under section 1023 FBB, Facebook B. Simply, just like business trust, whatever is exempt for investment fund will be taxable for unit holder. Whatever is taxable for investment fund will be exempt for unit holder. Are you clear? And then when investment fund makes payment of this income to unit holder, which is exempt for investment fund, taxable for unit holder, TDS will be there under section 194 LBB. Are you clear? Okay. So this chapter comprises of 115 UB, subsection 1 से लेके subsection 7. There are 7 subsections. फिर 194 LBB and 1023 FBA, 1023 FBB. One provides exemption to investment fund, one provides exemption to unit holder. 7 subsections, one explanation, one TDS section, 2 exempt incomes. Very simple chapter, easy to understand. Question has not yet come. AY 16-17 it was introduced. Are you clear? So the problem is that the SEBI introduced this concept in India, of course inspired from developed countries. SEBI introduced this concept in India from financial year 2012-13. Income tax department took a lot of time, though falling under the same government. Here they introduced provisions from financial year 15-16, AY 16-17. तो इन्वेस्टमेंट फंड कॉन्सेप्ट इंट्रोड्यूस करने के 3 साल बाद इनकम टैक्स डिपार्टमेंट वोक अप एंड इंट्रोड्यूस टैक्स रिलेटेड प्रोविजन. Still they have not yet introduced any specific provision for category 3. तो category 3 होगा तो क्या होगा? तो category 3 under income tax act will not be recognized as a separate or there are no separate provision. The category 3 wala alternate investment fund will be subjected to regular rate of tax as applicable to them. Okay. Now, who can invest in them? Whether HUFs can invest or not, individuals can invest or not, or whether companies can invest or not, whether banks can invest or not, whether mutual funds can invest or not. For that, you will have to refer to SEBI. SEBI mein pad gaya. I cannot teach you everything of SEBI, but that is not my responsibility. Acha, can they accept funds from abroad? The answer is yes. Funds from abroad is also allowed. Foreign, non-residents and foreign companies can also invest. In fact, that is what is the main purpose. That is the main idea. That is the main idea, that somebody will set up fund in India and they will receive funds from abroad. That is the main thing. And due to introduction of all these things, immediately the leader in the market for all this alternative investment fund is SoftBank of Japan. SoftBank immediately appointed to enter into Indian markets. They played a dirty trick. SoftBank people appointed some Indian person to be the CEO of the company. They appointed Nikesh Arora from India. Nikesh Arora, Marwadi guy. Marwadi people are intelligent and all these things. So they introduced Nikesh Arora, but then with a package of 600 crore equivalent Indian rupees. A salary package of 600 crore Indian rupees a year. However, due to some conflict of interest, Nikesh Arora was forced to resign before he actually started off. He was appointed today. His job was to start after 6 months, but before starting the job, before he actually took over the task, he was forced to resign due to andar ki baat kya hai, nobody knows. So SoftBank is ready to invest in India. These kind of people are even Warren Buffett, his company Hathaway Berkshire, they are ready to invest in India. So I will set up the investment fund. You people invest, plus Warren Buffett will invest, SoftBank will invest, etc. And then I will invest in startup companies and SMEs. Okay, the government ka focus is on that. Even in section 54GB, capital gain chapter, we know pretty well. Yaad hai ke nahi? Okay, so plus anybody who sets up LLP or a company as a startup company, then deduction is allowed. 100% deduction for any 3 consecutive years out of first 7 years under section 80 IAC, India Against Corruption. Chapter 6 we already discussed. Startup companies. Okay, so in order to, Modi government is running after startup. They desperately want Indians to, start, because our whole education system was spoiled by Britishers. We are being born and brought up, we are developed in such a way that we are programmed to work under somebody. We are programmed to work as an employee. We are programmed to work as a bonded laborers. So government says you come out of that mentality, enough, jo ho gaya, now you come out of it. We don't want to work for others. Let us have something of our own. India was ruling the world once upon a time, and now India has become slave of other countries. We need to come out of that, and for that government has to take the initiative. Results will not be seen immediately. Results will be seen after 20-25 years. And we have many talented people in our country, but government was not giving them any incentives. Achha. Now out of these 3, government gives incentives only to startups, like 80 IAC deduction, etc. Government does not give any incentive to other 2 people. There is no need to give incentives to, tax incentives to other 2 people, because they are for typical commercial purpose. Category 1 alternate investment fund is with some social motive. The government will incentivize them, correct? Anyway, वो सब SEBI में पढ़नेगा, इधर नहीं पढ़नेगा. I have to explain you tax treatment. किधर पूरा पढ़ा है भाई, बहुत है. You study in SEBI, you will go mad. It's given and show. It's very much detailed out in SEBI. What is the registration process and everything? You want to click a picture, you can click the picture. Otherwise, okay, those students who are sitting here, I have sent them a link on your WhatsApp group of some particular page of BSc website. Please have a look at it. It's a very small page. It will not take you more than 2 minutes. Okay, have a look at it. You will get to study all these things. Clear? Huh? This is complete. I'm about to erase this. If you want to write something extra, then you can. Please contribute. Yes, sir. You're Mohit Jain, right? Yes. Let me clarify. Don't ask me any query about SEBI. Income tax I have not started only. Now, sir, you said that. ऐसा चालू ही मत कर. I hate that sentence. हाँ, चलो पूछ लो अभी. चालू. SEBI teacher, law teacher. I don't know. I don't even want to know. I don't know. No, please. I already clarified to you. Please. Okay, I am not Google India. Please, I cannot have detailed knowledge of other acts. I have basic knowledge. I have got knowledge of income tax act. So please ask me only income tax related query. No, it is not related to income tax at all. अभी इधर इससे कोई लेना देना नहीं. हाँ, it will be your cost. Your contract value is 200 crore. You have to pay premium of 20 crore. Premium paid on option. And then you end up earning 2 crore profit. 2 crore. The premium becomes your cost. Huh. If it is PGBP. Correct? Okay. Now starting with investment. एक मिनट बहुत सिंपल. फटाफट. Everyone look up here. Two parties are involved. One is investment fund. One is unit holder. बराबर. अभी investment fund, the incomes under Income Tax Act for investment fund are divided into two categories. PGBP and other than PGBP. PGBP income होता ही नहीं. They don't earn PGBP income. But supposingly they have PGBP. They don't have only. So incomes are divided into two categories. PGBP income other than PGBP. If PGBP income is there, so that will be taxable for investment fund. Taxable. At what rate I will tell you? Taxable. And since this income is taxable for investment fund, when they pass on this income to unit holder के हाथ में this income will be exempt. Unit holder के लिए Facebook B, exempt under 1023 FBB. And any other income other than PGBP, investment fund will have other income only. They don't have PGBP income. बराबर? Okay. So that income other than PGBP will be exempt for investment fund under 1023 Facebook A, 1023 FBA, exempt. And that income when they pass it on to unit holder, pass through status will apply. But for, wait a moment, don't click the picture right now. I'll tell you. For unit holder it will be taxable. Yahan tak clear? Okay. Now, this income which is taxable for investment fund will be taxable at what rate? So investment fund के लिए it will be taxed. Who can create investment fund? So as per SEBI rules, investment fund can be created by company, partnership firm, LLP, trust or any other body corporate. Individual HUF, AOP, BOI cannot. University, local authority, cooperative society they cannot. Only these people. Mainly company. कोई भी company करेगा. I don't think so any partnership firm will approach. But SEBI says partnership firm can also set up investment. So if these people taxable at what rate? It will depend upon what is the status of investment fund. If investment fund is in the form of company or form includes LLP also, then the tax rate will be whatever is the tax rate given in the Finance Act. That is 30% for both of them. But if company is a one with turnover up to 25 crore, okay, 250 crore in last year, financial year 16-17, so 25%. So right now I have written 30%, but what is the language used? Rate of tax applicable to investment fund on the income which is taxable. Which income is taxable? PGBP. If taxable, it will be taxable at 30%. 30% I have mentioned simplicity के लिए. Act में क्या लिखा है? If it is company or firm, then the rate of tax given in Finance Act will apply. And Finance Act rate is 30%, but for company it could be 30 or 25. But if it is other than firm and company, firm includes LLP also. I will teach you this point in some other chapter. Firm includes LLP also. But other than firm, other than company or firm, it will be taxable at MMR. And MMR for your attempt is 35.88%. You know about it. What is MMR? Clear? Acha. Now, this income which is taxable other than PGBP income is exempt for them and taxable for unit holder. Unit holder के हाथ में कौन से rate से taxable? तो unit holder, whether it is business trust or securitization trust or any chapter, unit holder के हाथ में will be taxable as per normal rate applicable to unit holder plus surcharge, health, education, cess, whatever is applicable to unit holder. Acha, and now this income which is taxable, this income which is exempt for investment fund which is taxable for unit holder, when this income is passed on to unit holder, investment fund will be liable to deduct TDS under section 194 LBB. TDS wala point will come in the next slide. Right now you can click the picture of this slide. Technically chapter is over. Just a sec. A very simple chapter. 1 minute. Wait. कुछ नहीं. It's 2x2 table. Or rather 3x2. 3x2. इसमें से you just have to remember only one point. बाकी सब उसका उल्टा. Remember one thing. PGBP income taxable for investment. Rest all is ulta. Other income exempt for them. इसके लिए taxable तो इसके लिए exempt, this income taxable तो other income exempt, and other income exempt तो here it will be taxable. Remember only one point, rest all is exactly fill in the blanks. Huh? Quickly, please be a little quick, we are running short of time. Fast, use both your hands, come on, you can do it. Done. Couple of more points are yet to come. I will explain it to you. But are you clear with the basic funda? Okay. 1023 FBA. Chalo. FBA will exempt whom? Fast. 1023 Facebook will exempt investment fund. On which income? Other income other than PGB. Any income of an investment fund other than the income chargeable under the head profits and gains of business profession will be exempt. Clear? This is done. Any income other than PGBP of investment fund will be exempt. 1023 FBB. This is for whom? Unit holder. Any income referred to in section 115 UB accruing to, arising to or received by a person being a unit holder of an investment fund out of investments in the investment fund, being that proportion of the income which is of the same nature as income chargeable under the PGBP in the hands of investment fund will be exempt for unit holder. Being that proportion of the income which is of the same nature will be, which is PGBP. Investment fund के हाथ में PGBP income, and that is taxable in hands of investment fund. That is taxable for investment fund, तो unit holder के लिए exempt. Unit holder के लिए, this is very complicated languages used. एकदम simple language में table समझा ना, बस fast for FF cancel. 115 UB. 115 UB has got 7 subsections. 7. उसमें से subsection 1 and subsection 3 they talk about pass through status. 1 and 3 talk about pass through status. Subsection 1. And just like business trust, just like securitization trust, here the first section starts with a non-obstant clause. What is non-obstant clause? Superseding effect. Says notwithstanding anything contained in any other provision of the Income Tax Act. This talks about pass through. So what does it say? It says whatever investments are made by investment fund will be deemed to be made by unit holder directly. Whatever investments I have made, wherever I have made in the investee, it will be deemed to have been made by unit holder directly, as if investment fund does not exist. And subject to, notwithstanding anything contained in any other provision of the Income Tax Act and subject to provisions of this chapter, any income accruing to, arising to or received by a person being a unit holder of an investment fund from out of investments made in the investment fund. Any income accruing, arising or received by in unit holder, person being a unit holder of an investment fund. कहाँ से? Not your each and every income. Which income? Your income out of investments made in investment fund shall be chargeable to income tax in the same manner and in the same proportion as if it were the income accruing to, arising to or received by such person, that is unit holder, had such investments made by investment fund been made directly by him. Had the investments made by investment fund been directly made by him. Samjha, did you understand? You made investment in me, I made investment in investee. So your income will be chargeable to tax, whatever is chargeable to tax, it will be chargeable to tax in your hand in the same way as if such investments were not made by me, the investment fund, as if such investments were made by you. Same language is used in earlier 2 chapters also. So by now you should have understood this technical language. Okay? Simply pass through status will be applied. Pass through. This is subsection 1. Now subsection 2 says if investment fund suffers a loss, if there is a loss, the loss ke upar pass through status will not be applied. If I make a loss, then that loss I have to carry forward and I can set it off within next 8 years or whatever is the time frame given to me under Income Tax Act. If I suffer a loss as an investment fund, that loss ke liye pass through status will not be applied. Loss will not be loss will not be given to you. Only income के लिए pass through status will be applied, not for loss. Loss I have to continue in my hands within the allowable period, carry forward and set it off. Instead of profit, if net result of computation of total income of investment fund is a loss, instead of profit there is a loss under any head of income without giving effect to exemption under 1023 FBA, means before claiming exemption under 1023 FBA. What is the relevance of this bracketed wording? These bracketed wording says before giving or without giving effect to 1023 FBA. Meaning whereby investment fund has got two types of income. One is taxable, one is exempt. Most of the incomes will be exempt, but one is taxable, one is exempt. Normally there is a system or there is a rule which is not written anywhere but which is supported by Supreme Court decision, that any income which is exempt, if an income from a particular source is exempt, the loss from the same source will neither be allowed to be set off nor can it be carried forward. It has to lapse. That is the system. So investment fund may be having two types of loss. Loss coming from taxable source, loss coming from exempt source. बराबर है? दोनों type का loss will be allowed to be set off and carried forward. No need to worry about it. They can carry forward both the types of losses. So this will be an advantage to them. Without giving effect to exemption under 1023 FBA, if instead of profit, if the computation of total income is a loss under any head of income, not necessarily under PGBP, the taxable source, even if there is a loss under capital gain which is exempt, then also that loss will be allowed before claiming exemption, and such loss cannot be or is not wholly set off against income under other head of income, then such loss will be, then what to do? So in the hands of investment fund, it will be allowed to be carried forward and set off as usual, and in the hands of unit holder, such loss will have to be ignored. Such loss will be allowed, point 1, will be allowed to be carried forward and set off by the investment fund as usual in accordance with the provisions of chapter 6. Chapter 6 we are already done with, where set off and carry forward of losses. Section 70 is section 80. In simple language, no specific rule shall apply to such loss in the hands of investment fund, and such loss can be set off and carried forward as usual in a normal way. And second point, in the hands of unit holder, such loss will have to be ignored. After the set off of loss. Correct. Will be getting, but double benefit should not be there. So if loss is allowed to be passed on to the unit holder, and next year business, so my current year income is 100 crore positive and 120 crore negative. So my net income is 20 crore negative. That 20 crore I will retain, not allowed to you. You are a unit holder. Next year I don't have any loss. I have a positive income, 100 crore. 100 crore में से brought forward loss 20 crore I will set off. My balance will be 80. From 80 I will pass on to you. Supposing I passed on the whole 80 crore to you. You should not be getting double benefit. If the loss of last year is passed on to you and is allowed to me also, then what will happen in your end? Current year I am claiming set off of loss, passing on 80 crore to you, plus you are claiming that 20 crore. You will be paying tax on 60 crore. That is not an acceptable thing. Therefore, only one person will be allowed. But what is to be learned here is that even though the losses arising from the exempt source, then also that loss will be allowed to be set off against taxable source. That will be allowed. Can be set off. See, business loss set off against capital gain, so no problem, because capital gains were going to be exempt otherwise. And that is allowed otherwise also in a normal case. What is not allowed normally is a loss from exempt source cannot be set off against profit from taxable source. That will be allowed to these people. That is exceptional. Okay, that is an extra benefit. Without giving exemption to under 1020 means normally loss from exempt source is not allowed to be set off against this. Achha, the loss as in, this is taxable source, this is exempt source. Exempt source means you have a loss of 120 crore. 120. Here you have an income of 20 crore. 100 crore. So if you give effect to 1023 FBA, then as 1023 FBA is a part of chapter 3. Chapter 3 means incomes which do not form part of total income, and the word income includes negative income also. Incomes which do not form part of total income, including the losses which do not form part of. That means this income, had it been income, you ignore it totally, will not form part of your total income. Loss also should be ignored totally. So when you say consider this loss before giving effect to or without giving effect to 1023 FBA, that means this will not be ignored, this will be allowed to be set off against taxable source. That is what it means. If you were to consider after giving effect to 1023 FBA, If once you give effect to 1023 FBA, then positive as well as negative income both will go away. So this point, the bracketed wordings are basically talking about allowing the loss from exempt source against income from positive income from taxable source. Now you can set off, and 20 crore baki ka you carry forward to the next year. But this balance 20 crore will not be passed on to unit holder under pass-through status. That is what it's clear up till here. Clear everyone? Okay, now fast. 115 UB subsection 3 again talks about pass-through status. It says income paid or credited by the investment fund to the unit holder shall be deemed to be of the same nature and in the same proportion as was in the hands of unit holder, as it had been accruing to, received by or arisen to investment fund during the previous year, subject to provisions of section 115 UB2. What is 115 UB2? Non-allowance of loss to unit holder. Correct. Loss wala point was non. No, loss wala point was there in securitization. Securitization trust mein it was 115 TCA subsection 6. No, sorry. There it was loss wala point was non. Loss wala point is only in this chapter. Loss will lapse. Loss from exempt source will lapse. Correct. And that is an acceptable position of law. Only this will be benefited. Only in investment fund you will have this benefit. Securitization trust and business trust, if there is a loss from exempt source, that loss will lapse, will not be allowed. Okay, can't hear you. 8 years. This 8 years, normal period. 4 years. 4 years. Then no problem. That's what I explained. So if you have a taxable source, exempt source, if losses from here, then only there is a problem. If losses here and positive income, वो तो allowed ही है ही. This is always allowed. This is always allowed. What is not allowed is a loss from exempt source. That is not allowed. Nah. Before giving effect to 1023 FBA. Before giving effect. So once I give effect to 1023 FBA, this income becomes nil, and then I would carry forward this. So this has to be set off against this before giving effect to 1023 FBA. That means I will claim exemption later. Exemption I will have to claim later. First I will have to do set off. First this will be set off. This will be 20 crore, and this 20 crore will be exempt under 1023 FBA. This is what will be the resultant effect. This 100 I cannot carry forward. Little louder, can't you? Huh. Right. First it has to be set off. So that will be a negative factor. Are you all clear with this? Okay. 115 UB subsection 4. Now, investment fund would be in the form of either trust or will be company, which says, or it could be mutual fund also. It is one type of mutual fund. So, DDT and IDT not applicable to them. Uske pehle, what will be the tax rate applicable to investment fund? So, if investment fund is in the nature of company or a firm, including LLP, so tax rate will be the rate specified in Finance Act, that is 30%. Company rahega to 30 or 25, firm rahega LLP to 30. If it is any other case, it will be MMR, maximum marginal rate of tax. This is very simple. Subsection 5 says if it is company, so no DDT. If it is in the form of mutual fund, then no IDT. The provisions of chapter 12D, dividend distribution tax, or provisions of chapter 12E, that is income distribution tax, will not be applicable to income paid by investment fund under this chapter. Okay? TDS will be there, but DDT, IDT will not be there. This is not to be considered. Acha, understand, I am a company, I have floated a company, and company I have registered myself as an investment fund with SEBI. I will be having two different types of people. I have got shareholders also, and I have got unit holders also. You people are my unit holders. So when I distribute income to my shareholder, there I will have to pay DDT. But when I distribute income to you people as unit holder, there I don't have to pay DDT because you people are not my shareholder, and I shall not be treated at par with mutual fund also. IDT also will not apply. That will also be a benefit. That will be a benefit of this as compared to investment. 115 UB subsection 6. Kya the clear everyone? Okay. Now just like securitization trust, if at the end of the, we know pretty well TDS is attracted at the time of actual payment or at the time of crediting account of payee, whichever is earlier. What if investment fund does not make payment to me? They don't make payment to me at all. They don't even credit my account. Then it will result into deferral of tax. In order to avoid that, there is a clarification which is same as securitization trust, that if they don't pay income to me, last day of the year, 31st March ko, it will be deemed to have been credited in my account. If the income of the investment fund is not paid or not credited to the unit holder, then such income shall be deemed to have been credited to the account of unit holder on the last day of the previous year, in the same proportion in which such income would have actually been paid if it was actually paid. In the same proportion in which unit holder would have been entitled to receive such income if such income was actually paid by the investment fund during the previous year. Clear about this? This is same as 115 TCA subsection 3. There it was subsection 3, here it is subsection 6. Subsection 7, the last subsection. How as a unit holder you would come to know what is the portion of PGBP income, what is the portion of capital gain? They will have to issue statement. One copy to you, one copy to prescribed income tax authority. Acha, uske pehle explanation 2. Explanation 2 is in connection with this, which says that just like securitization trust, double taxation nahi hona chahiye. Once the income is already taxed in your hand on accrual basis under subsection 6, same income shall not be taxed in your hand again as a unit holder at the time when it is actually paid to you. Once an income is included in hands of unit holder in a previous year on account of having accrued or arisen under 115 UB6, same income shall not be included again in the total income of unit holder in the previous year in which such income is actually paid to him by investment fund. Clear? This is basically to avoid double taxation. Double taxation nahi hona chahiye, सीधी सी बात. Okay, then subsection 7, furnishing of statement. Person responsible for making payment of income on behalf of investment fund. Who will be responsible to furnish the statement? Investment fund nahi. The person who is responsible for making payment of income on behalf of investment fund and the investment fund both shall furnish a statement. I mean any one of them, not both. Though the word is and, but any one of them shall furnish a statement to the unit holder and to the prescribed income tax authority in a prescribed form within the prescribed time limit, giving prescribed details and such other details as may be prescribed. Statement. Are you clear? Now let us do one thing. All the 7 subsections, let's give them a title so that on the last moment, if you read title, you will understand. Subsection 1 and subsection 3. Give the title on the left hand side corner, pass through status. Pass through status and put a box on the same. 115 UB subsection 2, loss. 115 UB subsection 3, again pass through status. Pass through status. 115 UB subsection 4, rate of tax. Rate of tax. If you want to write something further, you can write further also. 30% and MMR, whatever. UB5, no DDT, no IDT. No DDT, no IDT. 115 UB subsection 6, deemed credit on 31st March. Here you can simply say deemed credit. You can write further if you want to. Deemed credit of income to unit holder. You can say deemed credit on 31st March. And 115 UB subsection 7, which is not relevant from exam point of view at all, is about furnishing statement. इसके ऊपर question नहीं आएगा, of course, goes without saying. Okay, 7 subsections, 7 title. Exam, if you don't reproduce the subsection number, it's okay. If you recollect concept and just reproduce, ideally the correct point, that's more than enough, right? If a question comes. Did you all understand investment fund? What is it? Okay, and then now TDS section is left out. There are no questions asked up till now from this chapter. Can I erase this? Done. Everyone done. Can I erase now finally? Explanation 1. Explanation 1 says who can create investment fund or what is investment fund. Investment fund means any fund established or incorporated as a trust company in India in the form of trust company, LLP, body corporate, which has been granted a certificate of registration as category 1 or category 2 alternative investment fund by SEBI and is regulated under Securities and Exchange Board of India Alternative Investment Fund Regulation 2012. Okay, ये भी करने की जरूरत नहीं है. 139(4)(f) says IT return will be mandatory within the due date by every investment fund registered under 115 UB. Okay, last, now fadafat quickly, investment fund to unit holder, PGBP income is taxable or exempt for an investment fund? Taxable, so that income will be exempt for unit holder. Other than PGBP income will be exempt for investment fund under 1023 FBA, therefore taxable for unit. So when this income, which is exempt for other than PGBP, when this income in the hands of investment fund, this income which is exempt, which is taxable for unit holder, investment fund while paying this to unit holder, this income, they will have to deduct TDS. TDS will be under which section? 194 LBB, 194. At what rate? So if unit holder is resident to 10%, non-resident to at the rate in force. At the rate in force if unit holder is non-resident or foreign company, or at the rate of 10% if the unit holder is resident. You can click the picture if you want. I am switching off the lights so you can have better clarity. Clear about it? With that the chapter comes to an end. कौन है पाछो clear. Okay, now 194 LBB in your notes is given this way. TDS by, now this section will be reproduced once again in TDS chapter when we come to TDS. Will effect from 1st June 15, financial year 15-16, AY 16-17. Payer investment fund, payee unit holder, whether resident, non-resident, amount, any amount, 1 rupee also paid, then also TDS. At the rate in force, at the rate in force in case the payee is, unit holder is non-resident or foreign company, or at the rate of 10% the unit holder is resident. Nature of payment, income referred to in explanation 1 to section 115 UB, other than that proportion of the income which is chargeable to tax under the PGB, or which is referred to in 1023 FBB, other than exempt incomes. Other than 1023 FBB means 1023 FBB means income which are exempt in the hands of unit holder. Exempt income को छोड़ के, यानी कि whatever income is taxable for unit holder, on that income TDS deductible. Don't try to buy RT language. Simply did you understand this point? अरे यार बंद कर दिया. That वाला क्या हमेशा का है? This particular you remember which income is taxable for whom and what will be the TDS. Who will deduct TDS from what? Clear about this? There are no questions. Chapter is over. Any question, any query, any doubt, anybody? Clear?